tonight regarding the findings of the independently investigated and unfounded complaint filed by Mr. Arguello. The report investigating the maintenance department and myself was unambiguous, providing a full exoneration. The investigator stated, "There is no finding that anyone in the maintenance department, specifically but not limited to Mr. Cavinee, has engaged in acts of divert funds to a particular contractor for personal pecuniary gain. There is also no finding that the maintenance department's relationship with one of the district vendors regarding the replacement of HVAC control systems at various schools is or has been improper. A review of supporting documentation from the investigation depicts inconsistent allegations. A letter written by Mr. Arguello to the school district's audit advisory committee on October 21st states that he had several anonymous sources report the allegations, yet in formal investigation, he only discussed a single written tip. The investigator noted the written tip was never produced in the course of the investigation. Natalie Torres, who served as the investigator for this external investigation, later served as a witness in a separate investigation against Mr. Arguello. During her testimony, Mr. Torres stated that anonymous sources were never revealed, and she is not aware of any specific factual grounds that supported the initiation of the investigation. Moreover, in her opinion, the allegations were not even close to any kind of substantive evidence to merit a full-blown investigation. For more than 35 years, I've remained a dedicated, loyal, and honest district employee who has been proud to work alongside of hundreds of other employees who have committed their lives to furthering the mission of this district. We work hard every day to try to keep morale high, given tight budgets and diminishing resources because of the pandemic and the Great Resignation. Yet, over the last 6 months, Mr. Arguello's reckless and unsubstantiated claims against hardworking employees has caused a perceived public blemish and low morale within the maintenance department and district. We elect individuals to represent us in various offices because we believe character traits such as honesty and fairness will guide them to make good public policy decisions. However, when individuals are unable to uphold these values and rather employ tyrant-like behavior, our democracy and the quality education this district provides becomes jeopardized. As part of holding office, public office, or any position in public agency, Florida law binds us to a responsibility of maintaining public records in accordance with such laws. In the state of Florida, complaints received by any citizen, consumer, or employee shall be maintained for 1 anniversary year from the time the complaint is resolved or closed. Tonight, I stand before this board and ask not only for myself but other employees that these allegations have affected either directly or indirectly for accountability. I respectfully request that the school board initiate an independent investigation into Mr. Arguello for a possible criminal violation for failing to properly maintain and produce a public record he possessed according to his testimony. In addition to not providing the written tip during the investigation, the document has yet to be produced as part of public records request.
Thank you, Mr. Cavinee.
Thank you.
Mr. Melendez, you withdraw your comment?
No, I actually want to ask a question to Mr. Cavinee. Mr. Cavinee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because this isn't public comment section, right? This is regular. Yeah. When I read the investigation, I understand that there's no, specific, his allegations were unfounded. But I just have just a general, procedural question. Because when it said the sole source controller for the HVAC system was something that can possibly be used at other school districts. So what we did isn't that different.
Correct.
But what it didn't look at, which I was curious to know, was how much money were we paying for those systems compared to others. And then the other issue was the turnover. How often was the turnover compared to other systems? Those are two things that weren't really answered. And you don't have to answer it out the top of your head.
Well, absolutely. And
But
if you
I just
look
think
at
that those are
if you do look at the opinions in the back of it, it has two different opinions. One is specifically towards doing exactly what we're doing, which saves training and costs.
Right.
That's what the district has done even before I was director of maintenance. I've been there 20 years. It's a system that we've, just like if you're using Chronos clocks, it's what you're using. You can't use a bunch of different ones. Your parts are crazy, your warehouse stocks are crazy. So with that being said, there's two different rules of thought. One of them is to open it up to BACnet. It's a new type of system, and we're open to that. We're working with facilities right now. Dave Sharman and myself work together to create a good policy where we can open it up to different BACnet and Lloyd Tech type things. It's about the money now.
And then the last thing is just for my own technicality, because I remember visiting your facility, and I was impressed actually how you can look at the camera or the system and know, okay, Gateway High School's chiller system is 85% operational. Is this the same control system, or is this a different control system that's in?
Similar
I'm trying to
control
understand the
systems.
technicality of it, like what
Absolutely.
was it?
Similar control systems. It's different training when you have BACnet as compared to a Loytec that we're using now. But it's just a matter of two different systems. And, you know, when you have a building automation group that looks at all of our schools, it's much easier to use one system. That's probably why they went that way years ago and stayed with that particular system as a head-end unit.
Yeah, because then my last question is, I was impressed by the fact that you can tap into any school and know the status of it. So if we did use different vendors, would it still be possible to
You could
look
still-
at that?
absolutely,
and
yes,
read the
we can.
information from
Yes, we
different
can.
vendors?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's just something that we may consider doing, using.
Yes, we are.
different vendors in the
We
future.
absolutely have opened it up to both sides. And in fact, two of the bids that are out right now have, each of them have the different type of system, so we are.
Thank you, Mr. Cavaney.
Make a motion to close 18.
I still have comments.
Oh, you can make comments on most of them, but
Okay,
go ahead.
1 second. I will address your comments in a second because I do have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Thacker, second by Mr. Melendez, with comments from Mr. Arguello. Mr. Arguello?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I got to make a comment at this point. For weeks, and since you've been the chair, you've had a problem seeing my light when I request to speak. And not only is it unprofessional, it is improper. When I hit that button, I think that you should do your job and allow me to speak. I speak on
You
behalf.
are currently being
Excuse me, I'm
addressed, though. I'm
speaking.
not sure what the problem
I'm
is.
speaking. I'm on
No,
the
you
floor.
are saying
Yeah,
to
that's
the
right, I
public
am.
who cannot see what's
I am.
behind the,
I've been-
behind here.
I've been, excuse me. I have been.
So you're
hitting that-
using this so you can say that I'm emotional, right? You're just trying to get her. You clearly are being recognized. I had a motion, and
Thank
it is
you.
my job to entertain the motion, which is what I did. And
There
you
was
are
a long
are-
pause, and Mr. Thacker, he jumped on top of my comments
I am
and
sorry
motioned
that-
before
Okay.
and you had plenty of opportunity. And I
Thank
hit
you.
that button 3 times, and you kept turning it off, and I hit that button, hit that button, hit that button.
I turned
and
it
you
off for
still-
everyone.
As if it was.
I know
as
who
if
is
it was-
who is in line.
Get to your point.
I
as
know
if
who's
it
in line.
was- Okay, then make sure that you call, so I
I
get my
know who's in
opportunity here.
line.
Okay,
And you are being called.
Okay, thank
Please
you.
make your comments. Thank you.
thank you.
No, of course.
So-
Go ahead.
So let me read, first of all, the part of one of the findings in the opinion. Opinion 1, sentence 1. The School District of Osceola County, Florida Specification, Section 230900, Direct Control Systems for HVAC appear to be written so that Total Building Integrations is the favored subcontractor. That's in the opinion from this person, okay? From the person who was hired to investigate. That's what the allegation was. The allegation was that the district was forcing work to one contractor. Of course, that comes out in the opinion. The opinion goes on to say that maybe that's not uncommon. Okay, well, that's neither here nor there. But I also want to say, in this investigation, which if you read this investigation, I will put it on Facebook later tonight. This investigation is probably the weakest investigation I've ever read, except for the one that I missed while I was in the restroom just now. Not one person from the maintenance team was interviewed, not even the 3 area managers for maintenance. Not one of the 3 maintenance managers was interviewed for this. So I wouldn't put all of your confidence in an investigation that doesn't interview the people that you would normally interview under these circumstances. Also, the attorney who did this discredits herself. Because in the other interview, as in the other investigation, which found that there was nothing there, okay, the attorney says that's not even close to any kind of substantive evidence to merit a full-blown investigation. Well, that's purely subjective. If the public, okay, comes to me and they give me a tip, or they release information to me, not only do I have the authority, but I have the obligation to the public to investigate the matter. I didn't go and start asking questions. What I did was give it to the attorney. That's what I did. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, no one else on the board is going to care to do an investigation on anybody but me, right? But it says here, she suspects that the anonymous source referred to in Mr. Arguello's letter were employees of the facilities department. So we have employees. The attorney who did the investigation here acknowledges the employees of the district sent to me an anonymous tip, which they asked me to investigate. So now they're asking for harassment because I'm the only school board member who's actually going to take that complaint of abuse and then take it to the attorney and say, hey, I just got this complaint. We should investigate it. Absolutely we should. To not do so would be a violation of the oath that I swore when I took this office. It gets tiresome. It gets tiresome dealing with your guys' nonsense, okay? This is unprofessional work is what this is. That's what this is. It's unprofessional work. It is incomplete. It does not investigate. All it does is provide the district with another excuse to say that I did something wrong because they're desperate to hold on to power. That's what this is. Now let me move on. I guess that's section 2, is that correct? So
Yeah,
why don't
have- yeah.
Okay, why don't,
Mr. Bass,
let me
did you
know
have
if
your
that
light?
button, if I need to press it anymore.
Mr. Arguello, I understand that it's campaign season and you need to get stuff on.
I'm not running, you are,
No,
and now you're not doing a good job
You
of
and
it.
your sister are running. I understand that you need to rile me up, but you have been given every opportunity to speak, okay?
I'm not in control of your behavior, and neither are you, apparently.
No. You know what? Keep doing whatever you need to do. The public knows who I am, and they know that I'm doing
They
my
sure
job.
do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Bass, did you have a comment?
I was just wanting to ask Frank
Thank
if
you.
Frank can hear me.
I can hear you.
I've just got a question because I've received comments from the public complaining about they've read the report and complaining about Mr. Arguello's conduct. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a law enforcement officer. The attorney and the lawyers who conducted the investigations were not tasked to look at whether there was criminal activity. However, there was a line in there that says, however, and it says, quoting the report, the finding did state that Mr. Arguello's conduct could lead to additional legal risk to the district. In order to, assure total transparency, we're going to close these out, but if I wanted someone to take a look at this in more depth, state's attorney, law enforcement, to make sure in full transparency and to bring final closure to this, if we're closing these out individually, do I have to vote on or make a motion individually, or can I make a motion at the end collectively after we hear everyone?
You can make a motion collectively. Nothing precludes your ability to do that.
Even after each one had been closed, though? That's where that was my question.
Well, the board is closing its role in the investigation. It has done all that is legally responsible under your rules to be done regarding that rule.
Right.
That is cited. So that is what you're closing out, the investigation regarding that rule by the attorney assigned to the case.
Okay. So I can just wait and hear all of the cases and before I make any kind of formal request myself?
I do believe you have the right to do that.
Okay, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to hear everyone's side first. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Arguello?
We're still on 18.02, right?
Yeah.
18.02.
Yeah. Possible criminal. That's probably the most ridiculous. You're right. You're not a lawyer, Robert. That's the most ridiculous thing. As an elected official, okay, if you are presented with a problem, if the public comes to you and the public says, I believe this happened, okay? And by the way, let me put the whole anonymous source. I submitted the anonymous documentation and all that to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FYI. So all the submission, the anonymous tips and everything, I submitted it to the proper authorities. And before I did that, I actually told the attorney of this school district everything that was in that tip, all right? And I brought it to the attention of the superintendent and the attorney. And then, after there was no action beyond this investigation, which took forever. An investigation of me takes about 15 minutes. I'm sure that Robert's going to file one against me tomorrow, and then by 9:39 tonight, it'll be complete. But if I come to you and I say the school district, someone came to me with some documents saying that something happened in the school district and there's a lack of transparency, that's, forget it. Next year, next millennia, maybe they'll come with some conclusion. That just like the investigation of 18.01, which I asked for 5 minutes after I was elected, it just got done tonight. So, use your better judgment. I think that it would behoove you all to not make fools of yourself and pretend that these investigations have any more seriousness than anything else that you've done on the board so far. Now I'm done.
Thank you. So I have a motion by Mr. Thacker, a second by Mr. Melendez. Board, all those in favor of closing item 18.02, state aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes 5-0.